got a bitches from a bride. Love you so much, girls. You're so inspiring. I've got a sad bitches from a bride.
Oh no.
That I somehow need to get off my chest, so feel free to share. I cried at the altar, not out of joy, but out of sadness and disappointment. Every time I think back to that day, what I feel most is bitterness. I never imagined I would have such a story about my wedding. Where I come from, weddings are usually simple and calm, nothing dramatic. We had planned a beautiful ceremony outdoors, surrounded by nature. Of course, with the weather, it's just always a bit of a risk. But that day, the weather was perfect. From the beginning, I planned to walk down the aisle with my brothers. Just as the music started playing, my brother got a message on his phone from my father asking how to get from the parking lot to the ceremony. That's when I knew he was late. My father was going to be late to my wedding of his only daughter. Only my mother-in-law noticed before the ceremony that he wasn't there yet, but she didn't want to interfere and thought that we or the groomsmen had it under control.
I'm going to pause you there a second, because this is tricky. Nobody really knows if all the important people are there, because nobody knows who the important people are.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that is a groomsman role.
So I walked down the aisle already with disappointment in my heart. Luckily, at the end of the aisle was my dream man. The moment I saw him, all my worries seemed to disappear, but as he held me at the altar, the tears came away, not from joy, but from grief that my father hasn't managed to show up on time. Other people came from the very same place without a problem, but that was not all. In the middle of the ceremony, he suddenly stood up, walked right towards us, not to apologise, but to say that his partner would be coming later.
So, in the ceremony?
I was furious.
In the ceremony?
I glared at him, pointed back to his seat and said, "Go back to your seat." From then on, he sat there like a sulking child. No applause, no smile, nothing. Later, I found out...
I'm assuming they're not friends anyway because he wasn't walking down the aisle.
Later, I found out he'd even thought about leaving during the ceremony. The whole day, he gave us the cold shoulder. It was only in the evening after my husband convinced him that he tried to apologise, but even then, he didn't really understand. He said the traffic was to blame and that he felt hurt and disappointed because I told him to go back to his seat. Since then, I've cut contact. It hurts, but no father should ever treat his daughter that way. On my wedding day, I spent so much time crying and hiding, only to put on a smile for guests. I hope that one day I'll be able to look back on our wedding with nothing but joy, because in truth, it really was perfect. P.S. I love your podcast. I've listened to all the episodes, and it was so helpful for wedding. But honestly, I also just love listening to you. You're so amazing, inspiring women, go girls. I'll definitely keep listening once I have the strength again to take in wedding-related things.
Cute. Right, I have a varied amount of emotions here. What the fuck is question one. Do not stand up in my ceremony. Do not try and speak to me in my ceremony. The only thing I would want from you is when I'm looking out to the crowd to you mouth sorry like that. That's all I want. To not clap is embarrassing. To be late is embarrassing to your daughter's wedding. And if would you join a ceremony late?
At the back, if I can be discreet.
Yeah. You're
If
outside,
not,
aren't you?
Yeah.
To come up. The problem is, how do you get over somebody pissing you off on your wedding day? Because you can't have that day back. And then if she feels he's ruined that whole day for her, which he has because she's been upset by it, like you are this morning of being stroppy, you're then just like, I can't get out of that mood. And now you've ruined my wedding day.
And every time I'd see him, I'd be like,
fuck off. What do you do?
It's really hard because you could be like, oh, you could tell him to leave, but then would you sit and regret that? Like, you just don't know. That's why you need someone there, like, because again, if we were on that wedding, we'd be like, your dad's not here. What do you want to do?
But we wouldn't know that her dad's not there. That's what I was just thinking. Her dad's not walking down the aisle.
Well, you'd see an empty seat.
Yeah, that is true.
You always go do a once over in the ceremony before.
Yeah, true. But if he didn't have a reserved sign, which he probably didn't because it doesn't seem like they're the closest, I feel like the groom should have maybe had a scan. But again, that's the last thing you think
on
about.
His mind, yeah. He'd be like, oh, he might be with her.
Yeah.
She might check. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know.
Yeah.
Georgia makes me really sad.
What?
It just makes me sad.
Yeah.
And she's so sad about it all.
The problem is, it is very hard to, and I am speaking from experience, it's very hard to forgive people who play up on your wedding day.
But
because
also,
you're like, it's just can I have one day? Can I have the one day?
But it's also that thing we say, you can be annoyed for 10 minutes and then you've got to move on.
But which I agree with.
Because you
but
can't.
It's much harder in practice,
You just can't let it
bother you.
Like you said, you married your dream man.
Yeah. And do you know what? As it goes, as the wedding is further away, like it's been longer time since it, you will forget about all the little details of things. And hopefully, like, if you get your photos back, like things like that, I would even be tempted to, if you haven't had photos yet, email my photographer and be like, I don't want any photos of this person.
Yeah.
Like, because as a photographer, I'd be happy to do that. Same as if you had video.
Yeah.
I don't want, because they don't know. And sometimes they think that you want your dad in it and you don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's shit. Standing up in someone's ceremony. Unbelievable. Poor behaviour. Poor behaviour, Dad.
Sad. And hopefully that you're still listening, you're still here.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck you, Dad.